Today, join me at my beloved Hotel Okura in Tokyo. My room, the facilities, the location, the food, and the amenities, we're gonna see all of it. It's truly a Tokyo landmark, so let's get into it. Welcome to Tokyo. If you would like to know the exact rate that I paid for my stay, or my next 5 videos in queue, please check out the description below. And if you're new here, hi there and welcome to the channel. My name is Kevin. You have found yourself on a channel that takes unbiased travel content pretty seriously. I make airline trip reports, high-end hotel reviews, and will soon dabble with cruises as well. I always film without the airline or hotel's knowledge to be sure to get a true experience, so I can give you nothing more than my personal, honest, unbiased opinion. I'll be honest, I don't think I've been so stressed about writing a script in quite a long time, and it's for a few reasons. Walking in the main entrance, we have the heritage wing of the hotel on the left, where all of the traditional Japanese-style rooms are located. In front of us, we have the more Western-style Prestige Tower. So, reason number 1, more so than any other newly built hotel that I've been to in recent memory, the Okura is so unapologetically itself that you really need to be prepared for a hotel experience and a design language that defy modern standards. Reason number 2, so about being newly built. That is true. In 2015, they began a $1 billion rebuild of the hotel, which saw them completely level the original structure and build 2 new towers. To say it was controversial would be putting it mildly. More on that later. Third, it's impossible to overstate how fundamentally important this hotel was in a post-war Japan. Originally opened in 1962, in time for the 1964 Tokyo Olympics, this hotel was a postcard to the world. Hiroshi Matsukama of the Kyoto Institute of Technology said that, quote, "The Okura symbolized Japan's return to international society after the war," unquote, and its lofty status continues to this day, having hosted just about every head of state imaginable, including every US president from Nixon to Obama. The US Embassy, by the way, is just across the street. Here we can see the original hotels designed by Toshiro Taniguchi, which were part of Pan Am's Intercontinental umbrella from 1964 until 1972. The main wing was opened in 1962 with 408 rooms, and the taller south wing with 388 rooms opened 11 years later. My fourth and final reason is my personal attachment to this hotel, well, to the old one. Some decades ago, through a strange twist of fate, the Hotel Okura became the first ever true 5-star hotel that I stayed at. Then, as it is now, the purpose of the lobby was essentially to be a chamber of peace and quiet. There is no music, there are no boisterous voices, there is just calm. My first trip here was my first time out of the US, and I could paint you every detail from that stay here. From the smell of the lobby, to the flurry of staff always 3 steps ahead, to the taste of the cornflakes or the minestrone soup that became my first ever jet lag cure, to the unimaginable button that opened the curtains. It was all novel and a bit magical, and I was hooked from that first moment. This lounge, though, was at the forefront of all of those memories, undoubtedly not just for me, but for anyone who stayed in the original hotel. This was one of the very first true modernist spaces created in Japan, the significance of which is akin to Air Saarinen's TWA Flight Center in New York. Destroying this lounge was a major part of the protests and petitions, which began after the news of the original hotel's destruction was announced, and so a deal was made. The son of the original designer, Toshiro Taniguchi, same name, was selected as the designer for the interior spaces of the new hotel, and painstaking detail would be taken to transfer or recreate a great deal of the interior elements, including the lounge in its entirety. The interiors are intentionally created with a peaceful unity in a show of respect to Wa, the Japanese cultural concept of harmony. The lounge chairs and tables, just one piece of that puzzle, are arranged to appear as blossoms with 5 petals each. Another original touch from the former hotel is the lobby's massive Seiko world clock. So, location-wise, located in central Honshu, the largest of Japan's islands, Tokyo seems to go on forever and ever and ever. Truly, in the middle of that is Toranomon Hills and Roppongi, serving as diplomatic and expat neighborhoods respectively. From my room, the Okura directly overlooks the US Embassy and Ambassador's residence, as well as the Prime Minister's residence and the National Legislature. It's very much a, if you have a reason to be in this area, then it's the perfect place to stay kind of address. But it's also fairly well connected with multiple metro stations within a 10-minute walk. Before heading to my room, we can take a quick look at the Heritage Wing lobby. If you thought the Prestige Wing was understated, brace yourself. In the 1980s, the Okura did a huge renovation of their guest rooms, and there was a massive outcry that the rooms went far too Western and lost all of their Japanese aesthetic. And so I think this 17-story Heritage Tower, with its 140 rooms, is a nod to that and a ways to keep everyone happy. Personally, as a novelty, I'd love to stay in one of the Heritage rooms in the future, but for my own uses, the Prestige rooms are more convenient. So let's head to my room now. The Prestige Tower is 41 stories high with 368 rooms. The tower is mixed use, and the floors 8 through 26 are reserved for office spaces, accessed on the other side of the hotel. The new Okura opened in 2019 in what was meant to be in time for the 2020 Olympic Games. This really does have to be one of the best insulated rooms that I've ever had, and it all starts in this lobby, which I don't know how to describe this, but it's almost quieter than silent. So silent that you might need to listen to yourself for a few moments. I had a standard king room, though they did tell me that it was a preferred view. The layout is somewhere between unique and strange. When you walk in, if you kept going, you'd end up in the bathtub. So let's turn left and check out the bedroom. The room is dominated by an impossibly plush looking and feeling bed that begs for you to take a nap. On the far side, there's a small table and chair, and a chaise with some very nicely creased pillows. When I was here decades ago, I distinctly remember these pies as they're called. They're essentially leaf-shaped pieces of sugar pie crust. To be honest, I thought they were the most boring thing on earth back then. But they are in fact really good. On one side of the bed, you have a tablet which allows you to control anything in the room and really does replace 90% of your switches and buttons. There's also a nice Bluetooth speaker. On the other side, there's a very extended nightstand which doubles nicely as an extension of the desk space if you need it to be so. Then you have the large table and chair for work and dining, stocked to the brim with all of the hotel traditions that most big brands have largely done away with at this point. I'm a sucker for a good piece of stationery, and I love that it even comes with pre-filled shipping labels. It's really rare that I say this, but they really have thought about everything in the room, every detail. Even making the notepad covers magnetic so that the pens don't go flying. The minibar is comprehensive and had an assortment of chargeable snacks and drinks, as well as an array of Nespresso capsules, Dilma Exceptional teas, and their very own branded teas as well. Across from the minibar and just inside the main door is the toilet room, which is separated from the main bathroom space. On the far end, we have a separate wet room with a full-size soaking tub with great city line views, along with a shower that I want at home. A single vanity is flanked by a whole lot of products. There are Miller Harris rhubarb and peony bath products, as well as a cosmetic cleaning kit from 3. One small detail I love to see in hotels are when they put just a few ounces of effort into their bathroom amenities. I don't need a toothbrush, but if I ever did, I surely want it to come from a beautiful sealed box. Finally, in the bathroom area, we have the walk-in closet. And lastly, that beautiful view. So, I think you probably gathered this already, but who's staying here? Well, it's a whole lot of important people, to put it lightly. It is a very buttoned-up property, but there's a kind of kid-glove treatment about the hospitality here that I genuinely find warm and inviting, though I do know that there are plenty of you that might find it too cold for your liking. Let's take a look at the extensive outdoor spaces, starting with the hotel courtyard, and then heading to the gardens behind the heritage wing. And we can have a chat about something completely unrelated as we look around. I made several posts on my community feed about the Okura a couple months ago, and I left the last one with an open suggestion that this hotel review might be a turning point for the channel. And it is, but probably not as you're expecting. There are limitations to what you can do when you film anonymously. You need to follow the rules. You don't get to access restaurants when they're not open. You can't walk around a hotel full of diplomats and aides recording them. I take discretion as it relates to filming as seriously as I physically can, no matter where I am. Obviously, for the most part over the past 125 hotels featured on the channel, I've done okay with it. But this is the first hotel where those limitations, mostly self-imposed, but those limitations I think negatively affected the video. Am I happy with the video? Absolutely, yes. Could I have been happier with it if filming was just a little bit easier? Absolutely, yes. So, the turning point, if that's what we're going to call it, is I need to find a way, and I haven't yet, but I need to find a way to both film and stay unannounced, but also sometimes just get a little bit of special treatment, only so I can be sure to film everything worth filming. At 4 a.m. on checkout day, perhaps. Besides that little bit of access, I have no desire for any other VIP such and such. It's certainly not something that needs to be done for all hotels, but for significant properties such as this one, or properties where discretion is the entire purpose of their existence, such as this one, I think the ends may justify the means. My balancing act will continue to evolve, and if I do this in the future, I'll state it in the video precisely what I did and did not say in order to access facilities off hours. For now, I'm just still thinking. As I was time-lapsing the sunset, I realized I was also in the final approach pattern for Haneda for the evening, which was pretty cool to watch, even if they just looked like little tiny dots on camera. And then, of course, night fell. Surprise, surprise, I'm not going to show you the details of all of the interiors of all of the restaurants. There are many of them, and they have menus that are very seasonal and very, very long. So I'm just going to focus on my incredible dinner at Yamazato, their Japanese fine dining restaurant. Yamazato is on the ground floor in the Heritage Wing, which you can access through the shopping arcade. Right now we're directly below the Heritage Wing lobby, this space serving as the outer reception for Yamazato. By all means, if you want to dine at just about any of the specialty restaurants here for dinner, be sure to make reservations. Especially at Yamazato, certain meals and sets can only be had in certain parts of the restaurant seating areas. I wanted to have the Hagi course menu, but they were fully booked, so they offered me a seat at the sushi counter where there were other omakase style menus available. When I arrived, I was very happy to find out that they did in fact arrange a table for me in the proper dining room area so I could have the Hagi menu. You probably knew this already, but I do enjoy traveling alone, and I have no issues like some do dining alone. That said, dining alone in Japan really is the ultimate experience. There was no specific designated menu, it was just the structure of the meal order that you ordered, and then it's up to the chef. All of the dishes were individually explained as presented by the very attentive staff. First up, we have the appetizers and sashimi courses. A coconut seaweed soybean curd, tasted better than it sounds, I promise, followed by squid simmered in teriyaki sauce with broccoli. As for the sashimi, we had bonito, flatfish, and tuna, each with its own specific seasoning. The bonito meant to be eaten with the radish and special soy sauce, and the other 2 to be paired with soy sauce or salt and wasabi. Next was the soup course, in this case, fishball soup with mugwort and whitefish. The grilled course came next. Tonight, grilled scallops and Spanish mackerel in butter and soy with green onion sauce. This one, I could have had 6 plates of. Next, we had the simmered course. Tonight, herring with bamboo, potato, and fiddleheads. Then came the vinegared course, which in this case was a wakame salad with cucumber and jellyfish. The tempura course was prawns, ice fish, and maitake mushrooms with butterball, sweet potato, and miso soup, along with grated radish and seasoning sauce. Meals like this are a worthwhile experience, I think, and a beautiful experience at that, but they do come at a price. My booking had a $100 food credit, and that covered around half of my dinner bill. Finally, we cleansed our palate with a bit of tea and then enjoyed a dessert of honeydew, strawberry, and summer orange jelly. Time now for the Starlight Bar and Lounge, possibly my favorite venue on site, with plenty of Park Hyatt Lost in Translation vibes, but on a more intimate scale, with the lounge and bar split into 4 distinct, semi-private areas. Filming anonymously, as in no invitations, no sponsorships, no freebies, no special treatment, and no travel agent rates from your Aunt Betty, I think are all important parts of an unbiased review. Whether for a flight or a hotel stay or a cruise, if you support honest travel content, please be sure to give this video a like and subscribe, the 2 easiest ways that you can help the channel continue to grow and put out twice weekly and soon 3 times weekly content. For those of you that are interested in supporting further, my Patreon's also linked below. Thanks very much. Turn Down came with their signature origami and pajamas laid out on the bed, along with a few chocolates bedside. Kinda needless to say, I slept well. I really do think that the newspaper holders that are built into the wall next to each room's door pretty much do sum up this hotel nicely. Time to check out the pool area. You can't see it, but it's 5:50 a.m., 10 minutes before opening, and there's a line of guests waiting to enter the fitness center behind me. I was 12th in line. The fitness center had extremely well-marked signs forbidding photography, so I went through like 5 layers of locker rooms and 4 pairs of slippers looking for the pool and managed to get 2 really quick shots, literally seconds before it was fully occupied. Time for breakfast. The buffet began at 6:30, and like the pool, there was a line here waiting as well. At the time I thought, well, why don't they just open earlier? There's clearly a need. But in retrospect, I think other guests were just doing as they were supposed to do. Breakfast starts at 6:30. Okay, great, I'll be there at 6:27. Breakfast was in the surprisingly light and airy Orchid Restaurant, which is their all-day signature dining facility. I fondly remember the original Orchid, which, if I remember correctly, was located just off the right side of the lobby lounge. For today, there was a very nice spread of dishes on offer, spanning Western and Japanese preferences. When reporting about the hotel's renovations, the New York Times ran a piece on it, and 2 quotes from Pico Iyer, the author of the article, stood out to me. First, quote, "The Japanese are different from you and me. They don't confuse books with their covers," unquote. And also, quote, "Modernity is always fashionable in Japan, but nothing looks more out of date than yesterday's version of tomorrow," unquote. Despite the resistance to demolish the original hotel, This speaks to me as to why it is acceptable and perhaps even appropriate for the new hotel to have what many have called a facade without a lick of personality. It's not meant to be flashy, it's meant to be a refuge, and once you step inside, that becomes very clear. This is not the type of hotel or the type of hospitality that's best experienced from afar. You need to get into it. The Okura exceeded my highest expectations, and it did so for what it isn't just as much as for what it is. Are there fancier hotels in Tokyo? Yep. Better service? Subjective, but perhaps. Better whatever? Maybe so. But it's hard to argue that as a full package, the Hotel Okura isn't the best example of true Japanese hospitality designed for the 21st century. I sincerely hope that you enjoyed this video today. It was a labor of love to make, and I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up and subscribe so that you can see many more videos like it. I'll see you next time from Nagoya as we fly Korean Air business class on their 787-9. Oh, and thanks for watching until the end.